Hey guys. Okay, so we are on part 4 of the 4 Seasons of Marriage study guide. Guys, I'm going to read as much as possible for tonight. Between today and tomorrow, Lord's will, we should be complete of this book. Now, you guys may get it a little bit later than when it's recorded. A lot of these videos I recorded, it is late. It's nighttime, as far as it's not like afternoon time, but sometimes they may take 1 to 3 hours to process or upload. It just depends. But we're going to be concluding this book. I think this is like video 20 or video 21. I'm really not sure, but let me try to read for 30 minutes. If I have the energy to continue reading past the 30 minutes, then I will. But if not, then I'll come back on tomorrow, Lord's will, and read to you guys. It'll probably be very early when I do read it before I leave. Yeah, very early to read it to you guys. So bear with me a second, guys. Also, please disregard the AC noise in the back. So we're on part 4 of the 4 Seasons of Marriage study guide. And we're on page 184 for you following along with me. So he said, take a walk through town or a mall, and you're sure to spot an older couple scrolling hand in hand, their facial expressions and body language giving clear evidence of a quality of love that has gone the distance. What a rewarding feeling they must enjoy, knowing they've beaten the odds. Not only is their relationship still intact, but it's actually thriving. What does it take to have a marriage like that? What joys and struggles have they experienced along the way? We'd all like to know the secrets of their success. Whether it has been years since your wedding day or only days since you returned from your honeymoon, one thing is certain. You are in the most special relationship two people can have. Sometimes marriage may be a complete joy, whereas other times your life together may seem like an incurable disease. Guys, 1 second. Excuse me. If you've been married for a while, your feelings have probably run the gamut between those two extremes. All marriages experience the 4 seasons, including spring times of vibrancy and excitement, fall seasons of discontentment and uncertainty, winters of anger and despair, and summer times of growth and deepened love. Couples whose marriages survive and thrive have refused to give up, steadfastly sticking to the belief that their efforts to improve their marriages will eventually pay off. The following study questions provide you and your spouse an opportunity to do some preventive maintenance on your relationship. They will help you learn more about each other, change some weak habits, discover new qualities to appreciate, and enhance the areas of attraction that first brought you together. Because one of the more powerful ways to learn is by gleaning insights from others, the guide is designed for group discussions. However, it also includes personal questions that are ideal for spouses to work through together in private. You'll also find ideas for dates with your mate. Most are simple and can be adapted to fit your circumstances. Discussion starters are included as an extra help. Lastly, prayer topics will guide you as you commit your marriage to God in prayer. You are your spouse's most important prayer warrior. Warrior. Praying together has the potential to bring huge blessings to your marriage. Whether your marriage is basking in the summer sun or buried under drifts of winter snow. Let me put my hair up so I can kind of see, because it's like my locks is in my face. So let me put these up. Okay, there's always room for greater fulfillment. May you thrive in the present season of your marriage, enriched by the history you share and overflowing with hope for the years to come. So now we're on page 185, and let's dig into part 1. I'll be telling you guys which part we're on as we go. But part 1 is from like 185 to about 201. So we're going to try to read as much as possible with this tonight. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Okay, so if you guys hear me pause the video, please don't mind that. I'm taking a moment to get a sip of water, catch my breath, because we're doing a lot of reading and a lot of, consistency. So just kind of bear with me. I hope that doesn't annoy anyone, but I also just pray that you guys kind of bear with me. with my schedule, the busyness, and me still being dedicated, to upload and stick with the schedule that God gave me to do for you guys in this channel, and to just be a blessing to you all. So, here's part one, the four seasons of marriage, the nature of marriage. And then it says, each person is also endowed by God with certain latent possibilities. The partnership of marriage is an ideal environment for nurturing and developing these gifts and abilities. Number one says, imagine a culture without marriage as a fundamental institution. Considering all aspects of culture, social, spiritual, financial, sexual, emotional, and generational, what benefits does monogamous marriage bring to society? Number two, I'm just going to read it as is, guys, because it's in numbers, and then it kind of tells us more as we read along. So number two says, many people, it seems, approach marriage as if it is a contract that can be broken if one party fails to uphold his or her end of the bargain, or if the situation simply doesn't feel right anymore. The Bible, on the other hand, speaks of marriage as a covenant. And then he has here Malachi 2:14 in parentheses. Discover the differences between a contract and a covenant and the impact of those differences on the marriage. You may want to refer to a Bible dictionary or my book, Covenant Marriage, Building Communication and Intimacy. Number three, in the United States, divorce rates hover somewhere around 50%. What do you see as a common causes for this unfortunate phenomenon? Consider cultural trends, various stresses from outside the marriage, such as jobs, relative schedules, media, and internal factors, character, qualities, attitudes. What are some practical ways in which a couple can set up a hedge of protection around their relationship against divorce? On page 186. I'm just saying that for you that are actually following along with me in the book, but for you that are listening, it's fine. But I also, as we're reading, I don't want to just be saying not what page we're not on, and we're kind of nearing the end. I kind of want you guys to be following along that are, have the book as well, like we kind of do in some of the other videos. So number four, what does it mean to say that marriage is a purposeful relationship? Number five, what does intimacy involve? How is it developed and maintained? What can threaten it? Well, this is the study guide, guys. So, okay, I understand. So number six, emotions must lead to reason, and reason must be guided by truth if we are to take constructive action. Discuss the necessity of balancing emotions and reason. If you're willing, share with the group about a time in your marriage when your emotions got the best of you and dislodged reason. What was the effect on your marriage? So for couples in private. So what we're doing, guys, everything that we read on the beginning videos, he's going over that, but it's just a part of the study guide. So he's going back to part one, where we were reading from page 3 up to 40 something, 60 something, I think. So if you missed those videos, they are up for the replay. I'm going to leave them up. Go back and check them out, so you kind of get a better understanding. But for you that are following along and have already listened to those videos, you will remember what we already read. So he's going back to the beginning. So for couples in private, successful marriages are committed, united, intimate, purposeful, and complementary. On your own, list the personality traits that you and your spouse possess that complement each other. Then discuss your list with each other. How do these traits strengthen, challenge, and benefit your relationship? So now the next step is make it a date. If you and your spouse do not already have an established weekly date, it's time to start a new habit. Choose a meal time that most easily fits your schedule and go to a favorite restaurant. Leave your cell phones, pagers, and other distractions at home and focus on building your relationship. The next one is conversation starters. Tell your spouse at least one quality you appreciate in him or her. Tell your spouse about an accomplishment that he or she has helped you achieve. And then also share prayer requests and commit to pray for each other this week. And the next one is commit to prayer. It's on 187, but it's still under the nature of marriage. So commit it to prayer. Be honest with each other about the season your marriage is in. Ask God to meet you in that season and to help you believe that he can restore, refresh, enhance, and invigorate your relationship. Challenge yourselves to pray together regularly. So now we're moving on to winter. Just as most people wouldn't lie down in the snow and wait to die, there's no reason to passively accept the coldness of a wintry marriage. There is a way out, and it begins with hope. So number one, with under this one, guys, it says discuss the characteristics and emotions of a winter marriage. Make a list of words and phrases that typify this season. Number two, what brings most couples to the winter season of marriage? Hint, it's a one word answer. Discuss how this factor can affect a marriage and how to avoid falling into this trap. Number three, most couples have experienced a winter season in their marriages or know couples who have. Keeping identities confidential. Discuss relationship factors you have observed that contribute to a winter marriage. Number four, how do attitudes foster emotions? How can choosing a positive attitude help a couple avoid or get out of the winter season? Number five, what actions usually characterize a winter marriage? Number six, imagine that a friend has shared with you about the serious problems in his or her winter marriage. What can you say that would be helpful? What should you not say? And we're still on winter. We're on page 188. So winter is going to be like 188, 189, and a little of 190. So we're on 188. So read Matthew 13, verses 15 through 16 aloud. What do these verses say about a hardened heart? What do these verses suggest about rigidity in a marriage? Consider the negative snowballing effect of resentment in a relationship. Why is it necessary to deal first with a hardened heart before it's possible to heal a marriage? Number 8, that was number 7. Number 8, read Jeremiah 33:10 through 12 aloud. How might these verses offer hope to a troubled marriage? Number 9, when two people choose to love again, the melting ice of winter will water the seeds of spring, and winter has served its ultimate purpose. Discuss the positive side of the winter season of marriage. What are some things you can do to move your marriage towards spring or to keep it from moving deeper into winter? And now we're going to talk about hope for the winter season of marriage, guys. Let me get a sip of water. Hope for the winter season of marriage. My lover spoke and said to me, and these are some scriptures we're reading, guys. Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, and come with me. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth, the season of singing has come. The cooing of doves is heard in our land. That's Song of Songs 2:10 through 12. The next one is Zechariah 14:8. It says, on that day, living water will flow out from Jerusalem, half to the eastern sea and half to the western sea, in summer and in winter. The next one is Jeremiah 17:14. It says, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved, for you are the one I praise. Hosea 14:4 says, I will heal their waywardness and love them freely, for my anger has turned away from them. Matthew 8:7 says, Jesus said to him, I will go and heal him. The next one is Psalm 6:3 through 4, and it says, my soul is in anguish. How long, O Lord? How long? Turn, O Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love. And then Psalms 119:106 through 108 says, I have taken an oath and confirmed it, that I will follow your righteous laws. I have suffered much. Preserve my life, O Lord, according to your word. Accept, O Lord, the will and praise of my mouth, and teach me your laws. So now we're moving on. We're still on page 189, but we're still in the winter part of the study guide. And it says, for couples in private, no matter what the current state of your marriage is, most likely you've experienced a time with your spouse that was joyful. After brainstorming on your own, make a list of positive things you have learned from your spouse. If you're in a winter season, this may require some hard work, but it can be a valuable part of reestablishing a loving foundation on which to build your relationship. Share your list with your spouse. And then the next one is make it a date. Do something lighthearted together. Rent a favorite comedy DVD, play a board game, scroll through a park, or volunteer for a service project. And then the next one is conversation starters. It says, set a positive tone by talking about the highlights of your week. Update each other on family members, work issues, or neighborhood happenings. Talk about your relationship, but for every area you bring up that needs improvement, mention 2 things you value about your relationship or your spouse. In positive terms, discuss why you want to work on a particular part of your marriage. We're on page 190. Also, for that part, guys, under conversation starters, exchange prayer requests and commit to pray for each other and for your relationship this week, and then committed to prayer. Focus on your spouse's needs as you pray for your marriage. Excuse me, guys. As much as you might be tempted to pour out your own feelings, pray instead about what is important to your spouse. Ask God to help you see your spouse through God's eyes. So now we're going to jump into spring. We're on page 190. Spring is from 190 to about 193, like half of 193, then it jumps into summer. But spring says change is perceived as an opportunity for new beginnings, and springtime couples fully expect to make the best of those opportunities. I'm not sure why this thing is jumping around. I'm not sure. So number one, discuss the characteristics and emotions of a spring marriage. Make a list of words and phrases that typify this season. Number two, share with the group about a spring season from your marriage. How long did it last? What events prompted its beginning, its end? Number three, discuss how other areas of life, such as careers, children, relatives, health, or finances, can affect a spring season for better or worse. Consider potential threats to a spring marriage as well as events that can enhance the season. Number four, because we are creatures of choice, we can create new beginnings whenever we desire. This sounds good, but let's get practical. What specific choices and attitudes and actions can we make to turn a fall or winter marriage into a spring marriage, or protect a spring marriage already in full swing? Number five, coping with the fading spring can be difficult for an unprepared couple who thought the season would last forever. If you're willing, share insights about how you've dealt with the change of seasons in your marriage or what you've observed in other marriages. Number six, that was number five. So number six, even in the springtime, there can be difficulties, but the prevailing attitude is one of anticipated growth rather than despair. Discuss the importance of attitude and behavior in establishing or maintaining a springtime marriage. What can you do to make some positive adjustments in this regard in your own marriage? Number seven, an attitude of gratitude characterizes spring marriages. What is the value of maintaining a spirit of thankfulness about your spouse? Number eight, read Psalms 28:7 and Psalm 62:8 aloud. How does trusting God teach us to imitate his trustworthiness? How does God's trustworthiness enable us to take the risk of trusting someone else? Number nine, discuss the downside of the spring season of marriage. What are some things you can do to keep spring alive? So now, guys, we're still in spring, but we're moving on to the scriptures talking about encouragement for the spring season of marriage. So it says, "O Lord Almighty, blessed is the man who trusts in you." That's Psalms 84:12. The next scripture is Ephesians 3:16 through 19. It says, "I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the saints to grasp how wide and how long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God." 1 John 4:16. "And we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in him." Deuteronomy 16:15 says, "For the Lord your God will bless you in all your harvest and in all the work of your hands, and in your joy will be complete." Psalms 28:7 says, "The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and I am helped. My heart leaps for joy, and I will give thanks to him in song." And then Philippians 1:4, guys, says, "In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy." So now we're moving on to the section for couples in private. Scroll down memory lane together as you discuss memories of a spring season in your relationship. What about that season made you feel secure and joyful in your love for each other? Talk about areas you like to see improving, changes you can make to renew the springtime in your marriage. So make it a date. Spread God's love and get refilled in the process. Spend a couple of hours volunteering at a soup kitchen or helping a neighbor in need. Serving others can enrich your relationship and offer a fresh look at how you have been blessed. And then the conversation starters. Number one is update each other on the events of the week, on happenings at work and home, and about the kids if applicable, like if it applies. The next one after that is talk about some of the blessings in your lives. Number three is exchange prayer requests and commit to pray for each other and for your relationship this week. And then we're going to jump into committed to prayer. And we are on page 193. So committed to prayer. Focus on gratitude. Spend a few minutes thanking God together for bringing you to where you are today and for offering his strength to deal with the circumstances he allows in your lives. Thank God for the ways in which your personality complements and challenges your spouse, and ask him to remind you throughout the week of reasons to be grateful for your marriage and your spouse. So guys, I'm going to give you a few seconds if you want to pause this video and take notes. I know for some of you, you may want to kind of just go back over the replay videos or even go back over this video, because he gives us so many rich nuggets and wisdom and different things that we can apply spiritually and practically. So I do love that about the author and about this book that he's written. And it's just a blessing, you know. It is a blessing. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. If you want to pause the video, you want to think, you want to take some notes of the Lord, Holy Spirit speaking to you, you know, you guys can do that. And then we're going to jump back in a few seconds and we'll get into spring. I'm sorry, we'll get into summer. We're coming out of spring, getting into summer. So summer says, if our marriage is in the season of summer, we will share a deep sense of commitment and satisfaction, and we will feel secure in each other's love. Summer does not equal perfection, but it does mean that couples in this season have a sense of accomplishment and a desire to keep growing. So number one, discuss the characteristics and emotions of a summer marriage. Make a list of words and phrases that typify this season. Number two, explain your understanding of constructive communication. What makes communication effective? Share your ideas about the importance of communication and what happens when it's lacking in a relationship. Number three, talk about various forms of nonverbal communication, and we're on page 194 now, and how they can be beneficial or in parentheses, or can add confusion to a situation. Number four, Jeremy and Ruth made some extra quote unquote vows to each other when they got married. See page 40. Discuss any general guidelines that you and your spouse established for your life together that weren't part of the traditional wedding vows. Are there any guidelines you'd like to establish now that you understand the characteristics of a summer marriage? Number five, couples who desire to continue in the summer season will consciously give each other the freedom to think, feel, and react differently. Discuss the importance of accepting each other's differences. If you're willing, share about a time you either succeeded or failed at this and how you and your spouse were able to move on to a greater understanding of each other. Number six, how can our differences refine us? Read Proverbs 27:17, Mark 9:49 through 50, and Colossians 3:15. Describe what a relationship would look like if two people had identical personalities. How would the relationship be weakened? Number seven, discuss with the group any books, video series, or seminars you found helpful in developing your marriage. What did you gain from these tools? Number eight, what role has spiritual growth played in your marriage? What benefits have accrued as a result of your faith? Describe a couple whose marriage you respect because of their faith. What are the evidences of their faith in their marriage relationship? Number nine, discuss the downside of the summer season of marriage. What are some things you can do to water your relationship and keep it growing fresh and vibrant? We're on page 195 and we're talking about growth for the summer season of marriage. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Excuse me, guys. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everybody. And I do apologize about that. I finished eating a little bit before coming on, so my food is still kind of digesting. But I still wanted to get this video out for tonight because I told you guys that I would be doing one. So, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And that's Romans 12:17 through 18. 2 Corinthians 13:11 says, aim for perfection, listen to my appeal, be of one mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. 1 John 3:16 through 18 says, this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. 1 John 4:16, 17, and 19. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in him. In this way, love is made complete among us. We love because he first loved us. Hebrews 12:11, and we'll be closing in a few minutes, guys. It says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. So now we're talking about for couples in private. Talk with your spouse about the ways you communicate. What topics tend to dominate your conversations? What else would you like to talk about? Discuss what you learned from your spouse's nonverbal communication. And then we're talking about make it a date. Make it a date says commemorate the growth in your marriage in a tangible way by planting something together. It might be an herb or vegetable garden, a simple house plant, a shrub, or a flowering tree. Each time we're on page 196, each time you look at it, you'll be reminded to nurture your relationship. Years down the road, you'll be able to enjoy the growth of your plants in your relationship. Conversation starters. Jumpstart your conversation by deciding together what you like to plant. Discuss the reasons for your choice. That's number one. Number two, how have you changed since meeting your spouse? How has your spouse changed? What drew you to each other in the beginning? What qualities that you might not have seen at first have you come to appreciate? Number three, how have your differences created challenges for your relationship? How have they benefited your relationship? Number four, exchange prayer requests and commit to pray for each other and for your relationship this week. And then we're getting into committed to prayer. Focus your prayer time on growth. Choose one or two specific areas of your life together that you like to surrender to God. Ask God for strength and patience as you work together to pursue spiritual growth. So now, guys, we're in fall, and it says it takes both spouses to move a marriage from fall to spring, but it takes only one to move from fall to winter. The way we think and the actions we take make all the difference. Number one, discuss the characteristics and emotions of a fall marriage. Make a list of words and phrases that typify this season. We're on page 197 now. And number two says, recall a time when you felt either discouraged or downright depressed about something in your life, not necessarily stemming from your marriage. How did that event affect your attitudes, feelings, and actions about other areas of your life? Discuss the effects of your marriage of ongoing stress, such as physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, financial. What are some avenues of help for getting through tough times? Number three, as a group, spend time sharing favorite scripture passages that offer hope for dealing with the fall season of marriage. Make a group list for each member to keep handy. Here's a couple to get you started. Psalms 16:8 through 9, Psalms 31:23 through 24. Number four, read Psalms 42 aloud. Make a list of words, phrases, and concepts that offer hope in God's power to repair struggling marriages. Number five, it's a cliche that change is inevitable, but there's no denying that it's true. Discuss the positive and negative aspects of change, including good and not so good habits of dealing with change. Number six, fear is one of the emotions often experienced in a fall marriage. Talk about the destructive forces of fear on individuals and relationships. What are some things that people commonly fear? When does fear become a negative hang up instead of simply a concern? How does fear devalue the Lord's power and goodness? Number seven, complete the following sentence and discuss it with your group. Without a doubt, the number one